I am Tyler Moran, and this is my Week 5 video response addressing my beliefs on federalism and individual rights that are important to me, and whether or not those are protected and as viable today as the founders intended them to be. So my understanding of federalism is that in the U.S. we're a country that's governed by both a federal governing system and a state governing system, and basically the federal government is limited to the powers that are given to it by the U.S. Constitution, and those that aren't addressed by the U.S. Constitution are then left up to the states to decide how they want to govern. This system, federalism, differs from that of what we used to exist under, which was a federation. When we were first founded, the states were governed by the Articles of Confederation, and that's essentially an association or a group of individually governed states or countries that exist together. This is, like I said previously, what we existed under before the U.S. Constitution was adopted. As far as misconceptions go, I think mine is more of a misunderstanding in terms of preemption and specifically the legalization of marijuana. If the preemption doctrine holds true, and the federal government, which it has made a ruling on a certain subject, and in this case marijuana, being illegal, why is it that we've allowed states like California or Colorado to legalize marijuana? Why is there no enforcement of federal law? In our reading about intergovernment immunity, we read that states can sue states and the federal government can sue states. So I'm just wondering why there hasn't been any enforcement of the federal policy at the state level for the legalization of marijuana. I do believe that our current system is true to the ideas of federalism as the founding fathers would have wanted it. I think our Supreme Court does a good job of deciding rulings based on how the founding fathers would have wanted the Constitution to originally be interpreted. However, I do think that there have been some laws that have been passed that kind of have overstepped those boundaries, specifically the enforcement of Obamacare. And although that was kind of changed, we still allowed Congress to abuse that power a little bit in terms of enforcing taxes on people. They kind of just backdoored us. They still kind of enforced the law that seemed unconstitutional, but it's within their power to apply taxes, so they still kind of got their way. Anyways, so the first right that is important to me that is given to us in Amendment 1, and that's the freedom of religion right. And this is important to me because I'm a Christian. I think it's important to be able to exercise my religion freely whenever I want to, as long as it doesn't harm anybody else. And I think it's important for people of other religious faiths to be able to do the same thing as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. I think it's important for everybody to be tolerant of other religions, and I think this right is protected today more than ever. If you take the fact that we're not allowed to say prayers in school or at graduation ceremonies, or they don't say the Pledge of Allegiance in schools anymore. There's different prayer rooms in colleges. There's tolerance of prayer times and different religious ceremonies and rituals in the military. I think this right is protected more today than the founding fathers would have ever imagined it was. The second right that's important to me is the right to bear arms, and that's given to us by the Second Amendment. It's important to me because I want to have the ability to protect my family if needed, and put food on my family if I need to. If someone breaks into my house, I want to be able to defend myself, and if I can't make it to the grocery store for some reason. I want to be able to hunt for my food. Um, I think this rule, although the Supreme Court made it clear it's a right that's given to us, and shouldn't be taken away in the decision they made in the DC versus Heller case. But I think that they would have felt that the federal government should have regulated this instead of leaving it up to the state. I think it's not, it's just a little too broad, I think, so it hasn't been specifically addressed, and so the states kind of all enforce state, the states kind of all enforce gun laws a little bit differently. Lastly is a right that's given to us in the Fourth Amendment, and that kind of bars the government from unreasonable search and seizure. And that's important to me just because I believe everybody deserves their privacy as long as they're not doing anything wrong. I like my privacy, so I think federal government should kind of keep their nose out of everyone's business unless there's a reasonable cause. But this is another situation where I don't think the Founding Fathers could have ever predicted some of the national security problems that we face today. So, although I think that something like the Patriot Act is necessary, I think it's another example of an opportunity for abuse of power. So I'm not sure on that one if that one's enforced more or less than the Founding Fathers would have intended. But it is what it is. So that is my video response. Those are my beliefs on federalism, and those are the 3 rights that are important to me. Thank you very much.